Developing defensible findings of fact is the moment where an investigator shifts from being a neutral collector of information to a trier of fact who determines what most likely occurred. This step demands a rigorous methodology, one that separates objective reality from subjective interpretation and produces findings capable of withstanding legal, administrative, and organizational scrutiny. To begin, investigators must distinguish facts from assumptions. The integrity of any finding depends on the ability to start from zero, eliminating preconceived notions that can lead to tunnel vision. Facts are treated as evidence, opinions are not. Findings must describe observable behaviors such as the respondent raised their voice, rather than subjective characterizations like the respondent was aggressive. Professional investigators embrace doubt and maintain appropriate skepticism. They refrain from assuming the truthfulness of any party regardless of seniority, reputation, or perceived credibility until the inquiry is complete. They also avoid generalizations. A witness who appears nervous should not automatically be assumed to be lying. Instead, investigators look for internal consistency within the witness's account and external consistency with documentary or digital evidence. Once facts are separated from assumptions, findings must be directly linked to supporting evidence. Findings should never be presented in isolation. They must be anchored to the documentary, digital, or testimonial evidence gathered during the inquiry. One effective method is to present findings in tight, chronological snippets, where each fact logically builds on the one before it. Each snippet should include a clear citation to its source, such as "See Exhibit R, Witness Statement," so that a third-party reviewer can reconstruct the investigator's reasoning path. Investigators must weigh the totality of evidence, including both inculpatory information that points toward wrongdoing and exculpatory information that points away from it. This balanced approach strengthens the defensibility of the final conclusion. A defensible finding must also explain the investigative reasoning behind it. One of the most common failures in investigative reporting is stating a conclusion such as, "The allegation is substantiated," without explaining why one version of events was preferred over another. A clear reasoning path must be articulated. When testimony is contradictory, the investigator must justify the preference for one account by citing specific credibility factors, such as inherent plausibility, corroboration, or motive to falsify. Findings must be expressed using the language of the balance of probabilities, for example. Based on the evidence presented, on the balance of probabilities, the respondent engaged in the conduct described. Definitive, evidence-based language conveys analytical rigor and confidence in the conclusion. Throughout this process, investigators must avoid speculation and advocacy. A defensible investigation requires strict neutrality. Investigators must not adopt the role of prosecutor or advocate for either party. Neutral terminology should be used consistently, complainant and respondent, rather than terms that imply guilt, such as victim, perpetrator, or accused. The roles of fact-finder and decision-maker should remain separate. The investigator provides the objective record. They do not recommend discipline unless specifically asked to do so in a separate after-action report. When faced with a complex or ambiguous situation, investigators should apply Occam's razor. The simplest explanation that fits all known facts is usually the correct one. And as a final check, investigators should apply the Globe and Mail test. Is the reasoning legal, moral, and ethical enough to withstand publication in a major newspaper? Developing defensible findings of fact requires discipline, neutrality, and transparent reasoning. When investigators follow these principles, their conclusions become clear, credible, and capable of standing up to scrutiny.